This is a fragment, a small writing. The headline reads, words, the body reads, stand in one place long enough, and something is bound to come along and move you out of the way. A narrative on waiting, movement, and the mystery of the headline, words. There is a kind of man and woman too, if we're being fair, who decides early in life that it is best to stay put, not just in the geographical sense, though that's part of it, but in a deeper way, as if the safest course of action in a world as unstable as this one is to pick a corner, plant your feet, and wait things out. They tell themselves, if I just remain where I am, still and consistent, then the world will pass me by gently. It will forget me, or maybe it will reward me for patience, for principle, for not chasing every wind like the others do. So they stand still, for days, then years, holding their beliefs, keeping their same tone, refusing to be swayed. There's dignity in it, to a point, but the fragment begins here, not with praise for such a one, but with a quiet warning. Stand in one place long enough, and something is bound to come along and move you out of the way. And what a line that is. Let's break it gently, as one might a stick in the forest to clear a trail. I. The first clause. Stand in one place long enough. There's the setup. Time is already involved. This is not a brief stillness, not the quiet of someone catching their breath. This is settlement, and in the long arc of it, avoidance. Not avoidance like a coward. No, more subtle than that. Avoidance like a man who's quietly trying to bargain with life. If I don't go after anything, maybe nothing will come after me. This could be a way of standing in grief, of standing in anger, of standing in confusion, of standing in an old identity that no longer fits but feels too familiar to set down. But the longer you hold your place, not as a post but as a pose, the more the world takes notice. Stillness may feel like hiding, but it is not invisible. 2. And something is bound to come along. Now we feel the motion, and not from the speaker, no, from the world. This is not a line about making change. It is a line about being changed. Something is always coming. A wind, a word, a woman, a war, a diagnosis, a realization, a child with a question, a man with a demand, a look from someone that breaks you. Whatever it is, it's inbound. And notice, the line doesn't say someone, it says something, as if the force that moves us out of our long-held place might not even be personal, might be weather, might be economy, might be God, might be chance, or it might just be time itself, finally losing patience with our refusal to live. 3. And move you out of the way, and here comes the strike. Not inviting you forward, not coaxing you into the dance, but moving you out of the way. There's no kindness in that motion. It's a clearing. You didn't move, so now you must be moved. That's what happens to things that sit too long in the current. They don't become timeless, they become obstacles, and eventually the current doesn't flow around them anymore. It breaks them. So the line is not cruel, but it is indifferent. Life is not going to hold back just because you're holding still. It'll give you a little while. It'll let you mourn. It'll let you hesitate. It'll even let you refuse, but only for a time. Eventually, life says, if you're not going to move, I'll have to go through you. 4. On the nature of the movement. Some will ask, but what if I stand in a place of principle? What if I stand for love or for truth? Should I be moved? It's a fair question. And this is where things get strange. Sometimes even principle becomes prison if you stay too long with it in a single form, because truth moves, love evolves, justice adapts. Even faith, when honest, must pass through nights of silence and unknowing. So yes, you may be standing in something noble, but if you don't let it breathe, don't let it reform itself in the fire of living, then even the best idea turns brittle. And then comes the moment, when someone taps your shoulder and says, you're blocking the doorway now, and you realize what began as a stand for something sacred has ended as an obstruction to the very thing it once served. V. The voice in the fragment. There's a tone in this line, not sarcastic, not cruel, but wry, almost fatherly, like someone who's seen it before, seen the man who swore he'd wait forever, only to be shaken loose when the ground itself began to shift. There's a mercy in the speaker's clarity. They do not say what will move you. They simply say, something will, and that in itself is a gift, because it means this: change is coming, even if you do nothing, even if you give up, even if you stop praying, stop asking, stop hoping, something is on its way. So what's the task? To not be caught surprised when it arrives. 6. Now, a word about the headline. Words. It almost doesn't match. It floats above the body like a label on the wrong drawer. But look again. The body speaks of movement, of eventual shifts in stillness, and the headline, words, stands there, singular, curious, opaque. So I ask you this: what moves a man most often? What is it that shows up after years of waiting? What is it that knocks him off center, rewrites his maps, and sends him stumbling into new territory? Not always catastrophe, not always romance. Sometimes it's just a few words, a phrase that opens the old wound again, a sentence spoken by a child, a line read in a book left on a bench, a whisper heard in the woods, a memory caught mid-dream. Words is not the subject, it's the agent, the thing that comes along, the thing that moves you, the thing that stands above it all, nameless but potent, because at the end of all our standing, waiting, refusing, and praying, it is often a word that finally does what time alone could not. It moves us. 7. Final thoughts. This is not a threat. This is not a proverb of doom. This is a fragment for those who thought stillness would save them, for those whose loyalty to what once worked has become a tomb. It is a warning, but also a promise. You will not be allowed to go untouched, even if your touch is gentle, even if your silence is noble. Something is coming, not to punish, but to move you out of the way, if that's what it takes to get you moving again. And when it comes, you might find that it sounds like a word, just one, a strange one, a quiet one, but true, and it will say, it's time.